All right. Hi, everybody. As everyone starts filing in, I just wanted to introduce myself. So, my name is Becca, and I am a bookseller at Belmont Books. And Belmont Books, for those of you who are not familiar with us, is an independent and locally owned bookstore located in Belmont, Massachusetts. So, you can find us pretty much right outside of Cambridge, Massachusetts. And before we begin, I would just like to let everybody know of a number of other virtual events that are coming up in February. So the first being a tell-all event, which is with Grub Street, and it's hosted by Lorena Hernandez Leonard on February 15th. And we also have our monthly story time, which is happening on February 26th. So you can register for these events, as well as some other events happening next month on our website, which is belmontbooks.com. And that's also where you can purchase tonight's book, which is This Monk Wears Heels, Be Who You Are. And I'll be sending out a link to that shortly. So if you have any concerns during the event, feel free to message me in the chat. But if you have questions for the authors, we do ask that you put them into the Q&A section on Zoom, which should be at the bottom of your screen, and we'll hope to get to as many of your questions as we can. So we're so excited to welcome Kodo Nishimura and Athena Bahri. I want to tell you a little bit about them, and then I will turn the event over to them. So first and foremost, we have Kodo Nishimura, who was born in Tokyo and graduated from the Parsons School of Design in New York. He has received high acclaim for his work as a makeup artist on Miss Universe and elsewhere. He rose to fame after his appearance on Queer Eye, We're in Japan, and his lectures on Buddhism, makeup, and LGBTQ rights have attracted wide coverage on the likes of CNN and the BBC. So you can find him on Instagram with the @Kodo Makeup. So we also have Athena Bahri here with us tonight. So Athena is a certified Reiki master, crystal Reiki master, and chakra healer. She's the author of Raise Your Vibes, Energy Self-Healing for Everyone, and the creator of Crystal Reiki Healer, one of the fastest growing online presences in the field. In addition to creating content for Instagram and her website, Athena contributes to podcasts and radio shows and performs Reiki healing locally in California, as well as reaching people around the globe via distance healing. So you can find her at crystalreikihealer.com. So we're very excited to have you both here with us this evening. Without further ado, I will turn the event over to you two. Thank you so much.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Oh my goodness, this is so much fun to be here. Here we go. So I'm so grateful to be joining you here today at Belmont Books, and I'm celebrating the release of your new book, This Monk Wears Heels.
Thank you.
Of course, it's so great to be able to have a chance to speak with you and learn more about you and your incredible, inspirational, and gorgeous work. So please tell me, Kodo, in This Monk Wears Heels, this is all about your path, right, to self-love and resilience. Tell us a little bit about what it was like for you growing up in Japan.
Oh, growing up in Japan was a little tough because, you know what? I have a photo of me. Let me see. This is me when I was young.
Oh,
So I was wearing skirt of my mom, and I had a cloth which are used to wrap monk robes up, because I was born in this temple, which is here. So I was, role playing as a princess when I was young, but as it's expected, the society wants me to be like masculine and act like other boys. So especially with my sexuality, it was hard to be myself.
I believe that, absolutely. And in many cultures, I think we have this as well, right? We have expectations of what, how we're supposed to behave, and, girls should be pretty and boys should be strong. And so when you had this, and you obviously knew, right, from a very young age, that you didn't fit the mold for this, right? This wasn't your normal, shall we say. How was that moving forward, growing up through this? Because was this part of the inspiration behind your book, or, how did this lead you to where you are today?
So I really wanted to be confident in my sexuality. When everybody made fun of me saying homo or perverted, I wanted to prove them wrong. So Later, I went to New York. I also went to Spain, and I met so many people who are living confidently um, as their LGBTQ beings. And these messages really convinced me that being homosexual is nothing wrong. And also going to the monk training, there were teachings that said being different is beautiful. There were master monks who told me that wearing what I want is the way to go. So these encouraging experiences and teachings and words from other people, these are something that I want to share with other people because that's what made me confident.
I love that. That is beautiful. And yes, in your book, you mention actually how you were struggling at one point during your education there at the temple about wearing shiny things and, you know, whether you could step with the right foot or the left foot. Tell us about this and how you were able to break through the chains of these restrictions.
When we enter the monk training, we learn a lot of choreographies and we have a lot of rules. And we are told that we can't even wear watches. And all the choreographies are different for men and women. So I didn't feel like I fit into like one category. So I was always feeling like, do they accept me? Do they like me being here? So that was the question for me. And also there are rules that you cannot wear accessories, of course. So towards the end of the training, I found a really renowned master who seemed very understanding. So I asked him and he told me that choreographies, for example, there is an urn of incense and we step over the urn with left foot for men, with the right foot for women to purify our bodies before we do ceremonies. So, you know, these um, rituals exist. Which one should I do? And he said, these rituals were made after the teaching that everybody can be equally liberated. So whichever you do, it doesn't matter. You can tell other friends to do whichever they feel like at that moment. So that was a great, like, oh, are you sure? Liberation moment.
Yes, and such a
Yeah.
relief, I'm sure, right? Having, you know, so many of us, we face these rules, rules of society, rules of culture, rules of tradition. So it's wonderful that you met someone on this path, and we always meet these people on our path when we're meant to, but it's just incredible that you met someone within the temple, within this practice that was able to give you the encouragement to say, you know what, they're guidelines. They're, you know, forget the rules. Like it's all about enlightenment. And that is just incredible. And this must have come through for you in your writing as well, right? Because you started, you actually originally published this book in 2020. Is that right? In Japanese?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So when you made the transition over to English, why did you feel like now would be an important time to bring this into you know, the English speaking cultures?
When I was studying in the US, I met many people who were struggling with religious values, feeling like they are not allowed to be themselves. I met one guy who was a part of another religion, and he said that being homosexual is considered taboo in my religion. And it was really painful for me because I really empathize with that struggle. And if I become a religious leader, then I can introduce Buddhism. And these knowledge, I think, can be a power. If you know different teachings, then there are options. So that's why I felt the need to spread my message globally.
Oh, I love that. I love that because it's true. It's so important, especially for those that are struggling with this and struggling with these questions and these rules. So that's wonderful that you were able to do that. Now, when you had to make this transition to English, did you find how was the writing process for this? Was it, did you learn, were there ways that you changed it because of just a translation and language in general, or did you find you needed to add different parts? What was this process like?
I added a lot of things about Buddhism because in Japan, I feel that everybody knows like the basics of Buddhism, but people who read English don't necessarily know what it is and who are monks. So I added a lot of basics about Buddhism and introduction to some of the teachings.
I love that. That's wonderful. And then especially because you're introducing, Buddhist principles and, some background there for the rest of us. How was this, how did people respond to this? How was this received by, I guess the masses? Was it mostly like, wow, I'm learning, or was it some like, but wait, that's not what a monk is? Like, did you face some of this kind of perceptions? Misperception?
Well, yeah. I mean, about the book, people say that it's not only for people who are interested in Buddhism, but I think these teachings are insightful for anybody. And in terms of me proclaiming myself as a Buddhist monk, of course, there have been like hundreds and thousands of criticism because they only know the version of Buddhism that they are used to or familiar with. But what I want to say is that that's not everything. There is diversity, and there are different evolutions within Buddhism. So I think it's like people reading about Japan and coming to Japan and saying that, oh, this is not Japan that I know, but it is the truth, and this is the Buddhism that we practice, and this is how it's evolving. So I really want to broaden the horizon.
I love it. It's so needed, right? Yes, definitely. And anytime we get a chance to, share our not just our thoughts and our practices, but elements that help raise the vibration for other people. These are a lot of the things you have in your book. This is not, yes, it's Buddhist background, but it really gives people a sense of hope and, maybe open their eyes to different ways of living, that maybe even those little key words that can give us some inspiration to, do better and live better and feel better about ourselves. Right. So this being a journey in self-love and self-resilience, I imagine a lot of this would be what in the spiritual world we would call shadow work, which is where you're facing those darker, harder parts of ourselves, and bringing it to light so that we can heal from them by kind of peeling those layers we have tucked away. So when you're dealing with this in the book and you talk about it some, what would you say was the most challenging chapter or section for you to write? And why was that part of your own journey in healing?
The hardest part for me to write was about my own desire. I have desire about sexual things, and I want to have things, something like jewelry or watches. Of course, I want these things, but I grew up in a temple, and we have this rule that monks are supposed to be abstinent or free of desire. So when I felt that I need to be vulnerable, I have to share my honest thoughts. Even though I'm a monk, this is what I go through, and this is, I think it's true for all the monks who are human. So
All
that
human. Yes.
so that coming out that took a little courage, but unless I'm honest and sincere, I don't think I can touch people's hearts. So that was a little
tricky there.
yeah.
Yes, opening ourselves up to those parts of ourselves. And it seems like you've had quite a bit of this, growing up, where you didn't actually come out until much later, right? So and then the story with your parents, who seem to be very open. I mean, you're wearing your mom's skirt, right, as a child, and dressing up, and there's pictures. So clearly, your mom knew, but then it still took you quite a bit of time to officially, open up about this? And how was that for you in that part of your journey? Because I know that's something that so many people struggle with even today.
Yeah, you know what? My mom didn't really know what I was, and she wasn't really familiar with LGBTQ people. So she went to a psychiatrist when I was young, consulting that, my son says that he doesn't like to hang out with other boys. So she was struggling as well. So when I came out, she said, all the mysteries are now solved and now it makes sense. And I think my father knew. And luckily they have been really supportive and understanding. I think they are the people who are gonna fight back discrimination themselves. So that was really lucky. And what was the other question?
Oh, and well, I was just saying, how was that for them well, you really answered it
Okay.
once you had opened up to this and how they were receptive. And it looks like you had some wonderful support because not everybody not everybody has that. And as a parent myself, when we look at our kids, we see them as perfect, right? They're just absolutely perfect in your eyes. And what's interesting, I find, is just because they have, they come out against the norm or, against tradition later, I feel like as parents, we still instinctively know. I mean, we know our children. Maybe we didn't have the right label, or maybe we didn't have the right name for what we saw as normal in our child, but the love is still there. So I hope that, this next generation of parents will also see that, and perhaps, your book will also help inspire them, because when they read this, they'll see, the parents' perspective and how they responded to you, and yours and your fear in sharing with them. Now, was there a lot of fear once you had come out and told your parents? Was there still that same level of fear within the community to share, or did you feel really a lot more empowered then?
Well, I felt that I was so relieved because my parents were supportive, but my parents were kind of worried if the Buddhist community would take it um, in a positive way. And what they did was actually really positive and supportive. And recently I designed this in collaboration with Japan Buddhist Federation, which is like NPO, or that consists of, not all, but many Buddhist schools in Japan. And they say that they are supportive of LGBTQ rights. So I'm really glad that and relieved that they are supportive of what I do.
And how does that make you feel? Like at the end of the day, when you go home and it's just you, how do you feel at the end of the day to think, oh my goodness, I helped do this. I helped inspire this and help others by bringing this. Like I even have the Buddhist temples on board. How does that feel when you go home and you have those moments to yourself?
You know what I feel like? You know what? I was right. I was always right. It's just the society didn't know because of the culture or history, or the cultures that shaped people not to understand LGBTQ people, but we were always right, and we are trying to, make good things. So now you are understanding and respecting. So I feel really content and grateful.
Yes, yes, I did it.
Yes, I'm like, okay, this is
Yay.
right. Mm.
Yeah, amazing validation. And I'm sure that you're going to continue to see this as more and more cultures and more traditions start to open up. And it's
Mm.
incredible that you're able to inspire this. And I know you're a real inspiration for those that are, either haven't come out or have recently come out and are still dealing with this, and want to wear skirts and want to dress up and be different than what the norm is. So you did a lot of dressing up when you were a kid, and in the book you have stories about dressing up as Disney princesses, and you mention in particular Cinderella and Belle. Why were these two among your favorites? What was the inspiration there?
You know what? Belle is seen as odd from the village. Like she's beautiful, but she's crazy. That's how she's perceived. And that's how I felt like how I felt when I was young. I was wearing, you know, clothes that were originally meant for girls. So I felt that, you know, I feel beautiful, but why is everybody not understanding me? So that's how I empathize with her. And Cinderella, I didn't really empathize, but I really liked how she believed and made the, you know, a lot of dreams come true. I know it's a fairy tale, but it's a good encouragement for me.
It is. Well, and all these fairy tales are based on some form of truth, right?
Mm.
That's where fairy tales are born. There's some piece of little bit of magic that then is, brought out into the world. And maybe we'll see a Disney princess Kodo someday, right? It would be so much fun. I
Well,
vote yes.
I lived my life as Disney princess. I struggled when I was younger, but I went to trainings. I learned the magic of makeup, and now I feel like a princess, and I can also make other people feel like princess as a fairy godmother as well.
I love that. Well, speaking of makeup, for all of those out there that are either just getting into it or can't quite figure it out, what's like your go-to tip for those that are experimenting with and trying to apply makeup for themselves?
Mm, I would say go with rosy colors. When you are choosing your lip color or blush color, uh, see this color like inside your mouth. That's like the natural color that is gonna enhance your body, enhance your face naturally. And when you pinch your cheeks, it's gonna flush slightly. And that's the type of color that you wanna. You know, when you press your finger like this, this color
Oh,
is
I
the
love that.
blush that you wanna get.
So when you walk into this store, you should just pinch your
Yeah,
thumb and compare it
uh,
with with all the tablets there, right? I love it.
yeah. That way you don't choose like the craziest color.
Unless you wanted to choose crazy colors, in which case, go for it. My
It's
daughter
fun.
is 7
Yeah.
and she has a palette with, blues and purples and greens, and she just comes out, like such a diva. And I'm always like, "Yep, you got it, rock it, girl, do it." And then Daddy, of course, is like, "But you're not leaving the house." Like,
Okay. Well, you know, I feel like it's okay to leave the house if you want to. If you like it, then I
then
mean,
be you, right? Well,
yeah.
I think it's just, she's 7, so maybe we'll hold off
Okay.
how do you feel like for the skin? Because you work with makeup so much, and this again kind of draws on this point, is taking care of our skin, because that's so important. And makeup really, kind of can clog pores, disrupt for people who have skin conditions or acne. How would you recommend, taking care of the skin post makeup
Um,
or even
I
makeup?
Yeah, I will tell you my routine. I use toner. I use moisturizing cream. After that, I have a fun point. When you take shower, I put toner everywhere around my body. Like even I don't want to make it uncomfortable, but I put it everywhere, like around my butthole, and I don't put on my soul, but everywhere, like scalp, I put everywhere.
I love it.
That's how I feel hydrated.
Yes,
And
because toner is great for hydration, right? So
yeah,
especially in winter months, right? When it's colder, I imagine that's really good for the skin. Nice.
right, with hyaluronic acid, I think it's really nice. And I put Nivea cream all over my body.
Oh, I love Nivea. Yes.
And when
Wonderful.
I take off my makeup, I use cleansing oil from Shu Uemura, which has oh, which has Japanese camellia oil in it.
Like
And
chamomile.
no,
Chamomile.
camellia is the
Camellia.
flower,
What is it?
which is red with seeds.
Oh,
I
okay.
think it might be unique to Japan, but I use that oil and cleanse my pore. It's a wonderful product. So that's how I take care of my skin.
Oh, I love it. I love that. Now, because taking care of our skin, especially for dealing with makeup, is so important. Now, I know that you've done quite a lot so far, especially being young. 32 right now for a couple more
Oh,
days,
yeah.
right? Yes, yes. Happy birthday in the
Thank
works.
you.
But you, in this time, you were named from Time, right? Time magazine, next generation leader. Would you
Yeah.
say this is one of your biggest accomplishments? Or what would you say is your biggest accomplishment? Because that one's pretty huge.
Yes, I didn't know what it meant when I received the email, but it's a grand validation to what I do. And I also feel responsibility that I, need to lead the world. And when I talk about leadership or responsibility, I'm a religious figure. So I know there are many religions that are affecting the laws of different countries. So if I can inspire different leaders of the world to be more understanding and know that diverse people exist, coming from a religious background, and make the laws or regulations a little more accepting, a little more understanding, I think that is the biggest contribution that I can make. So that's my aspiration.
Oh, I love that. Yes. Well, that is an incredible inspiration and aspiration. And, to be able to do this and be in a position to be able to do this, I know that comes with quite a bit of responsibility as well. So how do you adjust to this new sense of responsibility in creating this message and carrying the torch for others to shine a light for their life? How does this feel at whether at the end of the day or in the morning? How does this resonate for you?
I think I need to be really humble, because just because I'm a leader doesn't mean that I'm better or I know more. I just want to be able to empathize with as many people as possible who are coming from different backgrounds, because unless I know their story, unless I know what they believe in, the path that they walked, I cannot touch their hearts. So I think being a leader starts from listening to other people and learning about differences. So that's what I intend to keep doing.
I love that. And how will you reach these people? How will you have these new perspectives and speak to them? I know you mentioned travel quite a bit in your book, that you love to travel. So is that kind of part of the plan in meeting these
Yeah.
people?
I would love to keep traveling once the COVID situation gets better. And I know that when I'm doing makeup for people, they open up about their vulnerabilities, their sincere emotions. So that's a great way for me to learn about their kind of secrets.
I love that. And then for those who can't necessarily travel, and I know we are all waiting for COVID to be over so that we can again, but for those who can, how would you suggest or recommend we learn about other societies, other cultures, other traditions so that we can have more of an open mind?
I really like Netflix videos, movies, podcasts. These media are available, and I listen to a lot of them, and I watch a lot of them, and I can still gain this information. So you don't have to travel; you can learn from these media.
These are great. Yeah, this is great. And podcasts are really coming up where people can, get a different perspective on new cultures. And so, speaking of cultures and perspective, I know that everybody wants to know what was it like your experience filming for Netflix's Queer Eye? We're in Japan. How was that for you?
Well, it was a full circle moment, because as a teenager in Japan, I used to watch Queer Eye, the original series. And, like I said, I didn't see any LGBTQ characters or people who were portrayed as heroes when I was young, it was revolutionary to see these gay men saying that they are homosexual and helping people on TV. I was like, can they be okay in trains or streets? Are they not gonna be stopped saying that they're homosexuals? That was like very nerve-wracking and eye-opening for me. So later I got to do makeup for Carson Kressley, one of the original cast, during Miss Universe and Miss USA competition. So that was great. And then to be a part of the Queer Eye show later myself, that was really a full circle moment.
Really amazing. Yes. Isn't that incredible how life does that? Comes full circle to help us learn, to help us grow. But what an incredible way to do it on television, on
Yeah.
Netflix. Not too many people come around full circle like that. So that was really, was it kind of was there a big difference between, filming for that versus doing, some of the other shows that you had done for makeup? Did you feel a big shift there, or just more of the
Yeah, I feel that I became the person to speak instead of I was helping other people to shine. So that was a kind of pivotal moment for me because people started recognizing me in toilets or airplanes, the supermarkets or Disneyland. So I became a little more like, okay, now people I don't know who know me.
And has the response mostly been positive as you're running into these people
Yeah.
recognizing you? Oh, that's so wonderful.
When I was in an airplane coming back from Atlanta to Japan, I was in an airplane and I was seated like this, putting my leg up in a very comfortable way. And there was flight attendant passing, and he talked to me. Oh, I think it's nice to see you again. You were on a flight recently with me, right? And I was like, what? And then he came back and I was like, oh no, it was actually queer. I saw you there and that's why I thought I saw you recently. And he remembered my episode and he was there with his partner and he wrote a letter to me saying thank you for being you. And he brought like a business class meal and like chocolates for me. So
Oh.
I was sitting like this, but I was like, okay, oh, thank you. So that was a little awkward, but all these plays and the, the card and the gratitude that I received was very memorable, and it's I still have the letter, so that
Oh,
that's
well,
me.
I'm sure if he sees this, he is going to be so overjoyed that you kept that.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
that would be amazing for him to know that. Oh my goodness. So, you in your book, it's all about this self-love, this resilience, this journey you have. And now you're like living this and seeing it being validated. For people who are reading this, what would be, the one take, not the one, maybe several, what would be the big takeaway that you're hoping, your message can share, with other people who might be reading your book?
I would say being different is great because unless you're different, you can make differences in the world. So believe in your uniqueness and take pride because you can be the hope for other people.
I love that. Yes. And for those that are scared, how would you encourage them to step out of this fear? How would you encourage them to step out and allow themselves to be different and to embrace that difference?
When you're scared, it's really natural. I was scared to come out. I was scared to wear makeup and go out. But when I think of other people who are like-minded like me, who wants to be comfortable with their sexuality and say that this is who they are, who wants to wear makeup or skirts regardless of their gender or body, I can be a hero for them. I can make the society more tolerant for them, and I can inspire mothers who are raising these children. So when I think of other people, that gave me courage enough to conquer this fear.
Oh, I just love that. Yes, yes, shining that light, carrying that torch. That's so beautiful. You've done so many amazing things and already had so many incredible accomplishments. What can we expect to see for you, and what are you excited about moving into 2020? What do you have on your bucket list moving forward?
I actually want to do some, maybe like a documentary or series where I travel around different places, maybe visiting a very, very wealthy family and very struggling family, doing makeup for these people and really discovering their sincere emotions, and comparing on a platform so that people can see that even if they are wealthy or struggling, believe in this religion, believe in this, or belong to this party, we all have similar anxieties or stress because we are all human. And I really hope that this introduction can help people to eradicate prejudice or discrimination. So that's the makeup makeup show that I want to do.
Oh, I love that. A makeup show with the different color. And when you're doing makeup for them and you're looking at someone, I imagine like a, like a blank canvas. When you're
Mhm.
applying these colors, are you, what's the inspiration there? Are you wanting to draw out something from within them? Or is it just a matter of like creating beauty on this canvas? Like, where is the inspiration? Because you're not just like every other makeup artist. You have other things going on here. So what is your inspiration in drawing out this beauty in the people that you are working with?
I like classy beauty. I don't follow too much of trends. I feel that my makeup is similar to putting some salt. So I'm not changing what they are, um, but putting some, I amplify them and put on a nice plate. So that's what I do. I don't try to create new art. I just want to highlight their uniqueness in the best way for that phase.
I love that. Yes, that is the best. And that should be the same right for everyone with whatever you're doing, whether it's putting on makeup or putting on clothes, enhancing, your uniqueness and your own personal beauty. I know in the book you had mentioned, I think it was in the book that I had read about someone wearing a supermodel wearing, a color that didn't suit her versus
Hi.
an older woman that looked gorgeous in what outfit she was on or color she was wearing, right? So then there must be then it's about bringing out the inner beauty as well, right? And you're able to
Right.
kind of do that for them. How would people do that for themselves? How would they know what their right color is? I mean, we know about the beautiful lip trick and the pinching your cheeks, but as far as like tones, how do people know what suits them? Or is it just about what they feel good in? What do you think there?
I would say we need some outer perspective. We should take photos in the mirror and compare later or show it to your friends who you trust and ask their opinions. Because if you are yourself, it's hard to kind of know what suits you, because you can get lost because you keep seeing it every day.
I love that.
So I would say take photos and make it tangible and be able to compare them.
Beautiful. I love that. So we are all pinching our cheeks and looking and pinching our thumbs and taking photographs. These are awesome, awesome ones. Well, Kodo, you have done so many amazing things, and I don't want to take up all of your time as much as it is a joy to ask you questions. I know the audience is very eager to know what you have coming in 2022, more about your book, more about you and your journey. So why don't we open up the Q&A for your audience? Let's see
Yeah,
here.
ask me questions.
Yes, yes. What do they need to know? Okay. open questions, and I might need help from Becca for that. There she is. Hi, love. I am not seeing our Q&A questions on here.
Looks like we don't have any yet popping up quite yet. Hopefully people, if you have any lingering questions, please
announce it. Yes. I know that Becca had talked about an area where you can ask questions in the Q&A. So if anybody does, please go ahead and add those. And then you can learn what it is you want to know more about, and maybe I didn't touch on or forgot to ask. So please do share with us. I see some people in here that are all watching. You want to raise your hands, guys? Anybody? What do we all need to know? Oh, we have some dismissed here. All right. Well, as these are coming in, Kodo, there we go. What do you have coming for us in 2022? I know we're just in February. I know you're very busy moving on with, the release of your book. So I'm sure we're going to see lots of your face, the image of your face out there. But aside from promoting your book, it's an amazing accomplishment, but what do you have coming for us in 2022? We want to know.
Really, my year is gonna consist of a lot of promotion, I'm sure, because I'm publishing in the UK. I wanna visit the US, and it's also coming out in German, French, and Estonian as well. So I know I'm going to be doing a lot of that, but on my personal level, I want to be really free from the expectation of what being a monk is. I used to try to impress people being pure and nice and bright and wise and all this perfect version of me, but I felt that I don't need to put on makeup to feel beautiful anymore. I can show my vulnerable self. I can just be stylish, but I don't need to put on a show or to pretend that I'm this monk makeup, this contrast person anymore, because I feel comfortable enough. And this courage is something that I want to enjoy myself and share with other people.
Oh, that's beautiful. And do you think writing the book also helped as a form of kind of like, a self-healing practice, much like some of us journal? Do you feel like writing this book was part of this journey in your own healing?
Definitely. I needed to remember a lot of concerns I had, such as, sexual desire or saying that I want to have money, like these things I wanted to hide for years because I live in a temple. I faced them, and to kind of summarize and tell in a storytelling way, it was really healing. And because of this, I know that I have grown so much.
Oh, I love that. And you're there now, right? You are in the temple now.
Yeah, yes.
Yes. Oh, beautiful. I love that. We have a question coming in here. And it's a Japanese name, so I apologize that I cannot say it.
Okay.
But it does say, "I love your smile, Kodo. Could you share us some tips to get over difficulties of discriminations? Because I have friends who struggle and I want to support them."
Discrimination occurs because people are not educated, they are not informed enough, and also that they feel inferior. The people who discriminate, they feel inferior or struggling themselves. If they are happy, if they are aware, if they feel content, they don't have to exclude anybody. So we don't have to be the victim. We know that these people are weak, and the moment that we try to help them instead of being victimized, we can gain power, and that shift is going to change a lot of things, I think.
Oh, I love that too. I hope that answered your question. Here we go. And we have a question from Nadine. Hello, Nadine. First, Nadine Wong, she says, first of all, What an eye-catching and progressive title for a book. You are a visionary. I was very curious and Googled your name and read other articles. I read so many fascinating articles on you. I love how you discussed gender gifted in quotes with TW, Tokyo Weekender online magazine with Paul McInnes. You stated that, quote, we don't have to live as others do, that you can live many different ways, unquote. That is a very profound statement, and it's very true, especially because society is the one that made us conform to the norm. Can you please share a meditation or an affirmation for people, especially children, who are different?
Yes, thank you. First of all, I think we need to know that the society consists of the history and a lot of people people in power trying to manipulate other people. So they put us in a category so that they can move us and summarize into this simplified way. But that doesn't mean that they are right. That doesn't mean that we have to conform and be like them. So I think I'm angry about these, people trying to control us. So let's fight back and let's be an ally for what we want to do. We don't go crazy, but there are ways that we can be nice and respectful for others and really listen to our hearts and be our authentic self. And that affirmation that I want to share with you is something that I learned from my mother. And she told me, even if you listen to what others tell you to do, and if you don't end up being happy, they are not going to take responsibilities for you. So you have to listen to what you wanna, what your heart says, and do what you want to do, because that's when you can take the full responsibility. So that's what I keep telling myself.
Oh, I love that. And can you touch on, just for anyone who hasn't read the book yet, because everybody needs to get a copy, it's fantastic. But in your book, you talk about, and Nadine brought this up here, about gender gifted, right? Yes, gender gifted. Can you elaborate a little bit for us what you mean by this? What does that mean, gender gifted?
Gender gifted means that I'm able to live beyond the expectation or the realm of men and women. I feel that I'm both. I feel that I'm neither. So I can think think out of the box, and I can inspire other people not to be confined with these categories. So that's the gift that I have and gift that I can share with other people.
Oh, I love that. And how does the LGBTQ community respond to that? I know we have, he, she, they, all of these, and then you have gender gifted thrown in there. So how do they respond to your approach to this not fitting into, a category or a box?
I think they find it empowering because we were often marginalized and treated as inferior, but gift being able to listen to our instincts and following it, not listening to the standards, I think it's liberating. And this is not only for the LGBTQ community, but for anybody who wants to um, create their own lifestyle and live as they want. So I think it has a lot of hope in this term.
Oh, wonderful. Yes, I love that. And we have another comment here from Aya. Aya Kato, thank you so much for your time today, Kodo. Well, Ko-chan, it might be a typo.
Oh, yeah.
And, and Athena, you are so inspiring and empowering me always. Is there any tips for me as an ally to make psychological safety for LGBTQ friends? And how can I meet you in person in Japan?
Oh, thank you.
Aw,
I will be doing a book event soon, I think next week. So please, it's with the Tokyo Weekender magazine. So that's when you can come see me in person.
wonderful. When is that going to be? Just so for those in Japan, when do you know the day or the time that they can go see you?
I
Or should
don't,
I
I,
get back
I,
to you?
I wanna be accurate. So I will post it on my Instagram.
Excellent. And can you
Yeah.
tell them, just for anybody watching, how they find you on your Instagram?
Oh, it's KODO makeup, Kodo makeup.
Yes, perfect. So we'll have that. He's going to have that. They're going to have that announcement next week or maybe even this weekend. So anybody that wants to join and meet Kodo in person, that will be wonderful. And will you be signing books for this event? How is this event going to take place? I know we have all this COVID stuff. So how are they keeping things safe and yet allowing you to be open and meet others?
It's going to be limited number of audience, so you'll be it will be done with social distancing, and I'll be, of course, signing the books. And I will post because I was all about this event today, and I haven't started looking at the next event, but I will make sure to post. And to answer the question, how to make psychological safety for other people, I would like to answer that as well. I think it's really important to talk to them individually if there is any discrimination or inconsideration done in the community. I'm here for you. Were you hurt? Were you okay? And also, so that's something that you can do to make that person feel safe. And another thing that we can do is when there is like a school or meeting or any company orientation, I think it's nice to say that in this environment, we do not tolerate any discrimination against any differences. So to announce that in the beginning, I think it's going to be a great reminder for anybody to be respectful.
Wonderful. Yeah, really set the stage to keep things open and allow everyone to be free. I love that advice. That's wonderful. Let's see what we have on here. Let me close this one tab. And lots of thank yous. Yes, we've got your Kodo makeup up there. Nadine says, thank you so much for the affirmation. That is so great. I love that. And then we have here, let's see, do we have any more? I will make sure to announce it. Aya says, I will make sure to announce it all the time for everyone and myself. So
Oh, yes.
have it coming. She will be spreading the word for you. And then another question from Nadine. What would you advise or recommend to us to do the crazy world, to make the crazy world a better place?
You know what? It's almost impossible to make the world all perfect. So let's work on like community basis. I think showing showing respect, correcting when somebody says wrong things in a nice way. Um, I think raising our voices for injustice, even if it's small, is gonna help the world more understanding. And also, when you say something, make sure that you are saying in a positive way. Maybe like don't blame people or don't attack people for their flaws. I think it's really crucial to use positive words, encouraging words, supplemental information. I think these are like positive cycle of improvement. For me, for instance, I use makeup or fashion, these visual agents that are fun for people. It can be musical or music, it can be art. And these are fun and easy for people to understand. So while having fun, while being complimented, we can learn easier. So um, that's the motto that I have. Always keep it fun and positive.
Yes, I love this. Absolutely. And that's such a valid point to bring up, because we don't all understand each other, right? We
Right.
come from different backgrounds, different traditions, different cultures, and what seems totally foreign and crazy to one is totally normal to another. And just opening that, compassion and allowing us to have a different perspective is so important. But I love the community based progress.
Yeah.
Small, allowing it to spread, right?
Hmm. When I see like protest against LGBTQ discrimination, it's filled with rage. And I don't know if it's something that I want to participate because it's only making me even, I mean, I'm not angry, but it makes me angry. And it's not nice to see these negative emotions. Sometimes it's necessary, but I'm a person who wants to invest in fun things, maybe like a gay pride parade with, disco music playing, and we can all dance together, putting rainbow colors and costumes. And that's fun. I think it's inviting. And that way I feel that we can invite everybody to, even if it's not sexuality, it can be religious or different ethnicities. It can use food or fashion or festivals to educate. So that's, I think, is my favorite way.
Oh, I love it. Yes, I so agree. And it's true when you're, surrounding yourself with positivity and people who are positive and enlightened, it's only helps your growth more. And then when we're surrounded by anger, it's like stirring the pot within our own, deep rooted, points of anger or old wounds. And really, anger comes up because we care. So, and I need
Yeah.
to mention that in the book as well, like, how you only get angry when, that person's opinion matters or they're important to you, because that's when it really hurts the most. So what would you say to those in the community that are struggling with that anger from the people that they love, that they're not able to get through? How would you guide them in that way?
I think realizing that you are angry because it's what you care is going to solve the problem, because it's because you're blind that you're like this. But anger is rooted in love for what you care for. So that realization is nice. And I think meditating, reflecting, writing your thoughts out on paper, and seeing yourself from a distance is really helpful.
Oh, I love that. Now, for those out there that struggle with meditation, what is your go-to for the beginners out there, or for those that just can't quite figure out how to do that? How would you advise them to begin their practice in meditating?
I think there are two ways to meditate. One is to eliminate thoughts by focusing on breathing, or focusing on something like light and just be serene. Another way is to express everything that you're feeling. So it's like cleansing by, doing inventory of your thoughts. So for the clearing mind, I sometimes look at the moon. I sometimes put on a fire on a candle and I stare at it for a while. It's because it's quieting and meditate. It's very peaceful. It's easy. And the other way is to write my thoughts on paper. For example, I write whatever I'm feeling at the moment. It's like those are like ghosts, and I need to list them and like profile them so that I'm not scared anymore.
Oh,
So Yeah, so writing thoughts out. Oh, I was wondering if I can explain about my book. Oh, I talked about the flight attendant, and that was a fun part of the conversation. All these things that you think, yeah, just let them out. That's a
Release.
active way to meditate. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love this. Yes, because so many do struggle to have that moment. Even if they're staring at the candle flame, for example, their mind tends to be so busy. Especially, with those who are dealing with any kind of anxiety or depression, like the mind just it spins sometimes, doesn't it? So it's wonderful to have another way for people to turn off those worrying voices and that voice inside of our minds that you know stirs up difficult emotions and keeps us in that state of fear. And journaling, of course, is one of my favorites. But being a writer, this is what we do. And for those that haven't been to a temple or haven't visited, what would they expect, or what would be the appropriate way? Because I have a feeling that after your book, a lot of people are going to be curious and wanted to step into one of these temples and just to see what it's all about. And what would be your guidance, just upon their arrival or coming up, so that they can maintain air of respect as well.
Well, to be honest, I don't feel that you don't have to go into a temple. I think it's a great way to feel serene. Of course, these places have magical power where it helps you to feel quiet. But as long as you have a safe place where you can be alone and feel quiet, I think that can be your temple. It can be just you on a bed. It's all about feeling centered. So yeah, I don't necessarily force people to visit temples.
Oh no, of course not. I'm just we don't want to force anybody to do it. Definitely, that's not the point. But if they do go, I mean, is there a way? Do you have to wear certain clothes? Do you have to be a certain way? Is there something they can expect in terms of either dress or behavior? Is it like the church, for example? Like, what would they expect walking in?
Oh, thank you. Well, it really depends on each temples, but in my school, you can wear whatever you want, and there is no really dress code. So it's very casual. But listen to what they say where you go, because they might have different regulations.
Sure.
But yeah, it's casual for us.
Oh, wonderful.
You know what? When I was young, in the ceremony hall, like the praying hall, I used to play with my friends. I did like wrestling or role plays. I would stack up chairs and make like a store, and did like little shopping center with my friends. So you see, we are very casual, and I grew up here, so I have no like weird boundaries between the temple and me. It's something that I grew up with, and something that should be available and approachable for everybody.
Oh, I love that. Yes, I all about being open and available to everyone. And we have a question here, Kodo, again from Nadine. As a Japanese Buddhist monk, what are the precepts, and would you change them?
Well, in Japanese Buddhism, there are rules, just like Buddhism from Thailand, such as you shouldn't kill, you shouldn't cheat, you shouldn't drink, you shouldn't lie, you shouldn't steal these things. But these rules exist because it's so hard to keep them. Um, in the world today, it's impossible to follow all of them. So that's why they exist. So I think it's really important to reflect on our actions and do what is right each moment. how would I change them? I would change them in a way to sound it not so forceful. And I just want to make sure that everybody understand that these are like guidelines for you to keep and not something that you should use to bash other people or let these rules decide how you can live, because these are all solutions and not like the laws. Do I do
Yes,
I
yes. No, I love that. That absolutely, yes, absolutely makes sense. That's wonderful. And will you be teaching as well? I know you touch on that a bit when you're writing in your book. You're talking about how the monk that you had spoken to about these rules and how when you teach others that you can share differently. So how does that work when teaching Buddhism? Do people sign up for those of us in the West that don't know, do you sign up for classes, or is it something where you go to a temple? And for you specifically, if they wanted to learn from you, how would they access your great knowledge and your teachings?
Actually, I'm a Buddhist monk, but I'm not trying to I'm not trying to make people Buddhists or to really dig deep in Buddhist teachings too much, because I know that there are some teachings that are not for everybody because it consists of a lot of mythology. So I want to really focus on the basics of Buddhism, which is like everything has a reason. You shouldn't go extreme. Obsession can lead you to suffering. So these are all in my book, the things that I know are inspirational and insightful for everybody. So I wouldn't really encourage people to study further. It's just some basic teachings that I think are really useful. So these are all in here.
And these are all in the book. This monk
Yeah.
what it feels, be who you are. I absolutely love that. And Kodo, I'm so grateful to have shared this time with you, and to just learn more about your inspiring life and your journey, and all of these incredible things that you've already accomplished. And I'm so grateful to Belmont Books for having us on here and sharing in this conversation to our audience who have come through with your wonderful questions. And I'm just so grateful to have been a part of this. And thank you for having me. And it's been such a pleasure to share this time with you.
Thank you so much, Athena, for having interest in my book and coming up with your own insights and feedback. So I feel like I can have conversation here and conversation based on the book. So I feel really connected. Thank you.
Oh, I love that. Thank you, love. Thank you.
Thank you both so much. Thank you so much. We feel so honored to be able to host this event. This is amazing. And congratulations, Kodo, on the release of your book. And I just wanted to remind everybody to please support Belmont Books and support Kodo, and use the link at the top of the chat, which is where you can purchase the book. And that's everything. Thank you both so much again.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody who participated.
Bye, loves. Have a wonderful evening. Bye.